Hey guys, Naomi here with IGN's E3 live show streaming to your monitors from e3.ign.com. Now, if you've played the original Demon's Souls, you probably learned the true meaning of the word hardcore. Developer From Software is back with Dark Souls. Let's see what punishment they're dishing out.
Thanks, Naomi. And yeah, we're here to talk about Dark Souls. I've got Brian Hung here, Senior Brand Manager at Namco Bandai. And I mean, Demon's Souls definitely cultivated a really hardcore fan base with the PS3 crowd when it came out for Sony's console.
Yeah, it did.
Why do you think that is?
I think it reminded gamers of what games used to be like. And, you know, the difficulty and the challenge and the sense of achievement that gamers got was something that I think they almost forgot how to experience. And when they did, it was like this big wave of nostalgia rolled over them and became this big, huge classic cult hit.
Okay, and I mean, for people who are maybe expecting a game called Demon's Souls 2 or something like that, whereas this is called Dark Souls, still has Souls in the title. But what is the connection between Demon's Souls and Dark Souls?
To be honest, it's the developer From Software is the connection. Obviously, Namco Bandai didn't publish the first one, so we are calling Dark Souls the spiritual successor to Demon's Souls.
So is there a similar story setup, or how is that exactly framed?
Well, you know, even Demon's Souls and Dark Souls, these aren't story-driven titles, you know, per se. It's really about kind of this intense combat and this intense experience. So, you know, there's no real connection between the two games. And even if you had played Demon's Souls a lot and now you move on to Dark Souls, there won't be a connection even with the online play.
Okay. So yeah, I mean, we're watching some live gameplay here. Can you just sort of describe what the game plays like, what the challenge is, and what makes it exactly so difficult?
Well, you know, there's what we're seeing here right now is the undead perish, and there's a lot of factors that make it difficult. Obviously, what was well known from Demon's Souls and what's also here is that if you die, you lose all the progression that you had up to that point. And people talk about broken controllers and things of that nature. Yeah, that you're going to get broken controllers even with this game. And even the designer, Miyazaki, he said he wants to make this harder. And, you know, we think it's going to be a lot harder.
He wants to make this harder than Demon's Souls.
Yeah, but we also try to emphasize that, you know, we don't want to make it an unfair hard or a stupid hard. You know, people might get frustrated, but the developer always says, you know, if you're observant and you're watching, you know, how you're dying and, you know, what role play you have with the character that you're using, there's different ways around. There's different ways to progress, and that's what they want you to learn. And they would say, hey, we want you to learn from death, and that's what we want them to do.
Okay, and I mean, you say you learn you lose your progress when you do die, but you can still make a corpse run to go retrieve that.
Yeah, and one of the new features actually in Dark Souls is what we're calling bonfires, and these do serve as checkpoints throughout the game. And I know, you know, some of the purists might say, oh, you know, that's going to make the game easier. At first glance, you might think that, but that's really not the case at all.
Okay, and that's checkpoints so that if you die in the middle of a mission, you'll just restart.
You will go back to that checkpoint.
So you'll be that much closer to your corpse, so you wouldn't necessarily have to run the entire.
Yeah, you may not lose. You may lose an hour of progress, but not, you know, 3 hours of progress. So,
okay, yeah, I think that happened to me in Demon's Souls.
Yeah.
I didn't break my controller though.
Yeah.
Which was important. The overall structure of the world is it still sort of a nexus where you go through, like you stay in a central room and you just go through gates to get to missions, or is it structured differently?
Yeah, in this game right now there's no nexus. The terminology is probably going to get fixed, you know, closer to finalization, but we're calling it a hub. And there are areas that you're going to be able to phase through, but the progression's not linear the way it was in Demon's Souls. In Dark Souls, you are going to be able to move around from area to area without having necessarily to kill the boss or a mini boss. You're going to be able to move around a little bit more.
Okay, and you mentioned multiplayer online components. Can you go into more detail on that? Exactly how they're being implemented in this game?
Well, the one thing that, you know, when we talk to the Demon's Souls community, because we have a lot of interaction with them, we do understand, From Software does understand that all the online components that made Demon's Souls so popular, those components are all returning. They have added a lot of enhancements and wrinkles to the online play component, but one of the aspects of Demon's Souls that people love so much was the element of surprise, and they want to maintain the element of surprise. So we're not really sharing a lot of what's going to be happening with the new features with online play. But things like soul phantoms, being able to leave messages, being able to see how people before you died, those things are all there.
Okay, and I assume we will still see large bosses that can one-shot kill you if you're not careful?
Yeah, you know, the From Software guys, they've got some crazy imagination, and when you look at all the monsters that are going to be coming out in this game, I mean, a lot of them will just kind of blow your mind, where when you first look at it, you won't even think about trying to kill it. You just look at it and kind of admire it, and then it'll kill you. So.
Okay. And I mean, can you just talk a little bit about the upgrade system, like the types of items you'll find and how you power yourself up through the game?
Well, yeah. Well, like Demon Souls, again, you know, there's a lot of things that, depending on the character that you have, upgrades in armor and weapons, those things are all going to be there again. Obviously, as you collect your souls and get to the NPCs, you'll see nuances. I can share that the characters, the number of characters and classes that you have with Dark Souls, there are going to be more in Dark Souls than there were in Demon Souls. So that's something that I think gamers can look forward to.
Cool. Well, yeah, what platforms is this coming to, and when might people be able to get a hold of it?
Yeah, so it is on PS3. Of course, Demon Souls was PS3 exclusive, but we're really excited because Dark Souls, for the first time, will also, of course, be on Xbox 360. So we've got two next-gen platforms covered this time.
Okay, and that's later this year?
Yeah, the street date that we've just announced is October 4th.
Okay,
so,
sounds good. Well,
yeah,
looking forward to getting killed quite a bit in Dark Souls, and back to you, Naomi.
Awesome. Thanks, everybody. And for our fans out there, don't forget to friend us on Facebook. You'll get some great video and game content that you won't find anywhere else. Coming up next, the third-person shooter is about to get turned on its head. Stay tuned for Inversion.